What's up guys, Mike Thomas, aka the Young Trishula here. Today, I want to provide you guys with a little bit of an updated Dragon Link tutorial video. I was watching back through the old Dragon Link combo video, and I just wanted to go through and provide a little bit of an update, because I think that the end board shown in that video might be a little bit outdated for the current format, and I just want to show you guys what you can be ending on that I think is a little bit better in the current format and is also a little bit more of a streamlined board. So let's just get right into it and just like hop right into that. As always, be sure to like and subscribe if you do enjoy this kind of content. It really does help me out a lot, and it lets me know to keep making more of it. Also, if you're looking to get better at the game and you want to support me, I do offer coaching sessions through Metafy. I love helping people get better at the game, and I know from personal experience that sometimes the best way to do so is through a one-on-one approach. I recently found out that I'm within the top 17% of coaches on their platform, so definitely check me out on there if you think that this is something that you might be interested in. Anyway, without wasting any more of your time, let's get into it. Alright, so hopping into this first combo is kind of the standard line of play, or your most optimal starting combination, which is just Rite of Armiser plus Halqifibrax. I've chosen to do this for this replay in quote-unquote the worst possible way, which is just using Water Enchantress and a Hand Trap as your Halqifibrax, because that doesn't contribute anything to the combo. It doesn't introduce any random variables into the line of play. So let's just hop into this. So you're going to start off by playing Rite of Armiser and getting your token and Fateful Adventure from your deck. You can then summon your Water Enchantress and use that to trigger your Fateful Adventure. Getting your Draco back, you can then discard that Draco back in order to search your Griffin Rider. You'll re-equip your Draco back and special the Griffin Rider from your hand, normal your Hand Trap, and make your Halqifibrax. So just to reiterate, the true combo begins whenever you see this board state. It doesn't really matter how you get to this board state, but you want to have the Griffin Rider, your token, and Halqifibrax activating its effect. So you're going to summon out Red Rose Dragon from your deck, and you're going to go for Baron. This is so far pretty standard Halqiventure combos. Pretty much every Halqiventure deck does this, not just Dragon Link. So I'm sure you've seen this before. You're going to go for your Shooting Riser now by turning your token and your Rocks Rose into Shooting Riser and dumping your Fairy Tale Snow. This is very important. This is probably the most crucial part to the combo, and we'll get into that in a moment. So you're going to turn your Shooting Riser into your Striker Dragon, because it is a level 3 now that you've dumped your Fairy Tale Snow, and you will search your Boot Sector launch off of your Striker. You'll use your Basil to get back your Red Rose or your Rocks and turn it into Pisty. You'll use Pisty effect to summon back any of your dragons from the graveyard. I like to summon back the Red Rose. And then you'll turn these two into Romulus. You can put Romulus in this center column here because Striker Dragon does point to it, so it doesn't really change anything, but it's just something interesting for you to know. Then you'll be able to search your Dragon Ravine. So now what you're going to do is you're going to play Dragon Ravine and you're going to discard your Ash. Now this is going to look familiar to you if you've seen the previous combo video going over kind of an earlier version of the standard route. However, this time, instead of dumping Absolrouter, we're going to send the Tracer to the graveyard. And there's a very important reason for this. We are going to use Striker Dragon's effect here to pop the Halqifibrax and add that Tracer to our hand. We are not going to go for Borderland Dragon using Romulus, Halq, and Striker Dragon. And there's a very important reason as to why. And that reason is that we want to summon the Hieratic Seals. Now, Hieratic Seals is a card that sometimes gets cut from Dragon Link, and I think that is very much a mistake in this format. You'll see why in a second. We're going to activate Boot Sector launch and summon the Tracer. Now, because I've done this combo without introducing any variables whatsoever, we're going to have to use Tracer to pop the Boot Sector launch, summon the Recharger, and we're going to go straight to our end board of IP Masquerena. So this is the full end board that you are trying to achieve with Dragon Link now. And I'm going to take a quick second before I continue to explain why. This end board is very difficult for decks to break, and that is because of the Fairy Tale Snow in the grave. This is a 6 interruption end board, with Fairy Tale Snow being able to book the first monster that your opponent plays, you being able to use Hieratic Seal to tribute off that Fairy Tale Snow to book the next monster or, continuous card that they play. You can then reborn the Fairy Tale Snow to book the next monster they play. So if they're playing a monster-based deck, they've now had to summon 3 monsters for you to summon your Snow, and all you've used is Snow twice and your Hieratic Seal. And so now they've been stopped 3 times by summoning monsters. Assuming they have a 6-card hand, they only have 3 cards left. You can then use your IP Masquerena to go into Unicorn, discard this last card in your hand, spin the 4th monster they play, and should they dare to summon a 5th, you can snowbook that as well. So this is a very strong combination, especially into decks like Sprite, because your opponent is never getting a monster on the field. Surprisingly, this is also very, very strong against Tearlament, because while Tearlament can fuse with their face down monsters, they aren't going to be able to do much with the monsters they summon because everything's getting either spun, bounced, or set face down. So kind of interestingly, Tearlament actually struggles to deal with this end board because they only have a few monsters that they can use to get on the field with. So it's actually kind of a surprisingly strong strategy against them. They struggle to crack your board because you're just going to be snow booking everything that they summon. So you're usually going to end up with a bunch of free material against them for follow-up, and you can easily go into a Borland and clean up their field. And not to mention that all of this is backed up by a Baron Negate. So not to mention that this whole end board is backed up by a Baron Negate and is also very difficult to super poly with it not having any immediate targets. So this end board is very, very solid. Now, this is not technically the optimal end board because you do want to summon the Chaotic Ruler. You want to weave this into your combo if you can. And usually you're able to. Like, I would say 99% of the time you're able to do this. We are obviously just playing as if we drew the worst possible hand in existence, right? And sometimes too, I'll just go for this and just wing it, right? And you'll see here, we'll hit an extender. It's usually pretty likely that you'll find an extender even if you wing it. I think it's pretty safe. You know, you'll just summon your extender out, whatever that extender is, and you'll go for your IP. But you still get to the same end board, but you would be able to add a card. Assuming that this wasn't Foxy Tune, for example, right? That made us discard a card. We'd still have a card in hand. We might even have multiple cards in hand, say that we mill something like Chaos Space or one of the baby dragons or both. So, you know, you can end up with a sizable hand with this board. But that is what I would say is the standard line of play, because I think it plays very well into most of the decks in the metagame. And I don't think Borland is that strong. I actually think that Borland does a better job as a cleanup card than it does as part of your end board. Because if you think about it, it's really just an imperm on your field that takes a lot of materials when you can instead use those same materials and end on 5 monster disruptions rather than just an imperm. I think this is generally the preferred route. So I do also want to show you guys a variation of the standard combo, which ends you with a lot of resources and a similar board. And I don't really see many people bring it up, but Chaos Space Absol is technically like full combo. So I just want to show it off just so that you guys know that, you know, it's not set in stone. Like, you can still accomplish a lot of the same things with this deck without having specifically to open the Rite of Aramis stuff. So I'm going to start with Chaos Space and Absol because it provides us all the necessary requirements, which is a level 4 non-tuner and a tuner. So we are going to get our Wyver Burster out, banish the Absol and normal the Tracer that we search with Absol and go into Halki Fibrax. Now this is nice because you can chain block for your Halki Fibrax to get your Collapse Serpent and your Red Rose out of deck. You can summon your Collapse Serpent, use the Chaos Space, put back Wyver Burster, and get a free card. So now, as you see, we have like 4 hand traps backing up our full combo. And now we get to go Shooting Riser Dragon, searching our Wyver Burster that we just put back to chain block for both the Shooting Riser and the Red Rose Dragon. This will dump our Snow once again, so we are going to be able to set up that very powerful Seals end board. And we're going to go for the Rocks Rose, get our Basil Rose Shoot, and once again we'll just go Striker, get our Boot Sector, and we'll go Pisty. Now we're going to do one little quirk I'm going to show off, is especially when you start with something like Rocket Tracer, is I like to actually use the Striker first if I already have a Rocket in graveyard to pop the Hulk, since I know I'm going to be going for Seals. A lot of players will hold their Nibiru until you declare Pisty effect, which is, you know, fine, but you can sometimes just get away with stealing your Rocket Tracer back when they could nib you and stop you from doing so. So I'll just point that out. And then you'll go Pisty, Reborn, any name from your graveyard, it doesn't really matter which one, and you'll go for Seals. seals. I will make a brief pause to note that you can also weave in a Romulus at this point in the combo, depending on what your needs are. So you could go for Romulus first, get your Dragon Ravine, and then go into seals. It's not going to change anything in terms of the combo. And then you can go Boot Sector, summon out that Tracer, and then you can play your Basil Rose Shoot. Use Tracer to pop the Basil Rose Shoot, since we are activating a card and we want to preserve our field spell if possible. Summon out our Recharger, and then we get to summon back our Roxrose from the grave. We can go for our Pepega, use Pepega to mill, and because I'm a pro at this deck, I am going to whiff. And then, you know, we can just go into our IP Masquerena and we can just pass on this. You know, if we had other extenders, we can think about continuing to play the game. We could, you know, potentially have gone for other routes, but for now we can just call this good enough, you know, because you have your 5 monster disruptions plus 5 cards in hand plus follow up with Pepega, and you're floating an extra body. And what's cool about this extra body is you can bounce the seals and summon a second Tracer from your deck, and that second Tracer can then pop the field spell, summoning a Synchron from your deck or any other legal target. And now, if for whatever reason you don't want to go down the route of, say, stopping your opponent from summoning 5 times, you can then go into IP Masquerena, and you can use those extra bodies to make Borrowland on your opponent's turn. So if, for example, your opponent is like really weak to Borrowland, you can just throw this on the field against them on their turn rather than just snow booking all their monsters. This is one way that you can play out this turn that still ends you with a monster negate and a bunch of monster disruptions as well, plus 5 cards in hand, which is really difficult to deal with. Not to mention that, you know, this was still just assuming that the rest of our hand wasn't live in the first place and we weren't able to also put up a negate. Like, it's very common to end on a similar board to this with like 3 or 4 cards in your hand as well as a negate. So just something that I thought you guys might want to be aware of, and figured I'd include it in the video since this is more of just an update than a full tutorial. So that's about all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed these updated Dragon Link combos. Let me know if you did down in the comment section below. Remember to like the video and subscribe if you have not already. It really does help me out a lot. So that's about all for today though. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one.